Well, shalom, everyone. Shalom, mishpacha. Brothers and sisters out there. I thought I'd do this video since we're not taping today on Shabbat. Taping it ahead of time, um, so we can put something up during Shabbat. Hope you're all doing well, keeping healthy, and that God's blessing is on all of you. Let's pray. In the Malkeinu, our Father, our King, we come before your presence. In the name of Yeshua, our Messiah and King, we ask, Abba, that you would give us ears to hear and eyes to see what the Ruach has to say to us and show us today. Abba, as we discuss your word, may you quicken our hearts and our minds to the obedience of your word, of your laws and your precepts. Father, help us to be obedient in all things that we do in Yeshua's name. Amen. Alright, brothers, we're going to Exodus 20, straight into the word. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to read from my Bible, Blue Letter Bible, HNV version. Exodus 20, verse 1, it says, God spoke all these words, saying, I am Yehovah, your God, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me, actually before my face, to put in front of my face. You shall make for yourselves no idol, nor any image of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. So this is the Ten Commandments I'm reading. First commandment is you shall have no other gods to put before my face. The second commandment is you shall make no idols for yourself. You shall not bow yourself down to them, nor serve them. For I, Yehovah, your God, am a jealous God, visiting the evil or the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and on the fourth generation of those who hate me, and showing loving kindness, mercy to those thousands who love me and keep my commandments. Now pay attention to that part. Those who love me and keep my commandments, he shows mercy and loving kindness. Okay. You shall not take the name of Yehovah your Elohim to bring it to nothing. You shall not disrepute the name of your God. So it's not just vain, as some translations translated. Bring it, take the name of your God in vain. It actually means to disrepute, to make your God of less value in the eyes of other people. Break his reputation, bring it down. Name in the Hebrew Shem is not just a name as we understand it, my name or your name. It has to do with authority, reputation. It has those concepts embedded into the word Shem, which is name. So when we're talking about the name of God, we're not talking about his name as such, but we're talking about his character and reputation, bringing it to nothing. Okay. For Yehovah will not hold him guiltless who takes his name to make it nothing. Fourth commandment, remember. It's the only commandment where God says remember. Okay. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Holy means to be set apart, different from others. Set apart. You set something apart that is precious to you. Right? This is the fourth commandment, the one that the Catholic Church is taking out from our Bibles, and that we were made to believe that had no further impact in our lives, that we didn't have to do this, right? Um, we can do all other 9 commandments, and the Catholic Church also took the second commandment, not to make idols, obvious reasons. But we can keep all the 9 commandments, but the fourth one, God forbid, right? We gotta do the Sunday, because that's the day of the sun, right? The day of the invincible sun, as Constantine said. He's the invincible sun. Um, the sun worship, by the way, it's not got nothing to do with God. God never actually removed the Sabbath day from being a holy day. Yeshua never said, guys, the Sabbath day is now over. You can worship me on whatever day you want, because yeah, now it's over. I'm doing away with it. No, on the contrary, he said, I did not come to destroy the law, but to make it full of play to make the world full of it, full of his law. So there's a bit of a misunderstanding when it comes to the fourth commandment. The day of worship to Yehovah, the day he set apart from creation, even before the law was given, was Shabbat, Sabbath day, Saturday, not the Sunday. So yeah, do with that what you like. Research it yourself. It was in 361, I believe, or 365, that the Catholic Church removed it under Constantine. By order of Constantine, it was removed. The fourth day was no longer, the fourth commandment was no longer observed. And then later on, he was said by one of the popes that, or one of the high priests anyway, of the Catholic Church, that it was to demonstrate the power of the church, that it even had the power to change the commandments of God. Yeah, what arrogance. No one has the right to change any of the commandments of God. Even Yeshua submitted himself to God's commandments. So I'll leave that with you. You shall labor 6 days. Here we go. This is the laws of the keeping of the Sabbath day. You shall labor 6 days, Sunday to Friday, and do all your work. But the seventh day, the Shabbat, is a day of rest to Yehovah, your God. You shall not do any work in it. You, nor your sons, nor your daughter, nor your manservants, nor your maidservants, labor hire, right? Whatever you want to call it. It wasn't just slavery. What we understand as labor hire was servanthood back in biblical days. So servants were not allowed to work on that day, nor your cattle. So not even the cattle was allowed to be out roaming around, nor your stranger, whoever came into the city and claimed that he didn't know any better. He couldn't be working either. He was to be instructed. Who is anyone who is within your gates? For 6 days Jehovah made heaven and earth. This is the reference back to the fact that he created it before the law was created. Whatever view you have of that. In the Garden of Eden, God created all things for 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. So this is the bringing you back to that day. He made the earth, the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all it that is in them, and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore Yehovah, not any man, Yehovah blessed the day of Shabbat, Saturday, and made it set apart, holy. Enough of that. Honor your father and your mother, that your days might be long in the land which Jehovah your God gives you. That's pretty straightforward. Uh, it seems at face value, but to honor your father and mother is a two-edged sword. The responsibility is on the fathers and mothers to teach their children the laws of God. And then the responsibility is passed on to the children to obey their fathers and mothers who taught them the laws of God. If you have not taught your children the laws of God, then you cannot claim this to your advantage, father and mother, because you have failed in your responsibilities as a father and as a mother to teach your children the Torah, the law of God. And that is in Deuteronomy, that you can find all this stuff. Deuteronomy chapter 6, I believe. All right? So the responsibility is given to the parents and then to the children. So this commandment is for the children whose parents have taught them Torah. So this applies to people who live by the Torah, by the laws of God, not to people that don't know anything about God or that don't live by the laws of God. This doesn't apply to you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. This is all for the brethren, in the sense that if you are living by the laws of God, then this applies to you from your brethren who are also obeying the laws of God. If you are not obeying the laws of God, this does not apply to you either. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. All right. So all the people perceived the thunderings and the lightnings, the sound of the shofar of God, and the mountain smoking, Mount Sinai. When the people saw it, they trembled and stayed at a distance, and said to Moses, "Speak with us yourself, and we will listen, but don't let God speak with us, lest we die." What a sad turn of events. And yes, God's voice is terrible to hear. It's overpowering and fearful to hear the voice of a living God. As someone who's been there, when God speaks, your body goes to the ground, basically. It is a fearful thing. It just resonates with everything inside you. There's no power left in you. But having said that, I would rather die hearing the voice of God than live a day without His voice. Enough of that. Moses said to the people, "Don't be afraid, for God has come to test you, and that His fear may be before you, that you won't sin." Right. So here we go. This is the point of my message today. It's the fear of the Lord that keeps us from sinning. It is the fear of God. The fear is bound to knowledge, right? The Hebrew word yareh, which comes from knowledge, to know God, uh, and what He is able to do and what He's capable of, and to understand how He judges, and to understand how He blesses. To know all these things about God, bring you to a place of reverence, of understanding. The fear of God is not a terror, although it is pretty terrifying to be in His presence, but uh, it's not that kind of fear. It is not a coercion fear, a fear that you hide and it brings a trap. Not that kind of fear, not a terror as such. The fear of God comes from knowledge, from understanding who He is and what He is able to do and what He has asked us to do. So this is the kind of fear we should all have. And what I encourage you to learn about God, because the more you know about Him, the more you are going to fear Him, to understand Him, to recognize that He is a powerful God that can destroy both the flesh and the soul in Sheol, right? So, Gehenna, sorry. So, this is the point that I'm making today. There has to be fear of God in us. We have lived for too long doing our own thing. The God of our mind was one of my teachings a while back, and still pretty prevalent today. You know, we make our own God in our own mind, and we think that we have it all worked out, and He is the one uh, that we like because we made Him in our own image, right? This God that we've created, this idol, really, that we've created in our minds, He's the one that we succumb to, that we give our allegiance to. But is He really the God of the Bible? Is really the one He says He created us in His image and according to His likeness? Um, does He deserve to be replaced by the idol that we make in our minds, with our ideals, without our thoughts, without even checking the scriptures, right? The Bereans were said to be more honorable brothers than anybody else because they received the word with readiness of heart, but then they went and checked to see if all the things that Paul was saying to them were true. May we have many Bereans in our midst. Yeah? Don't believe everything you hear. Stop listening to YouTube messages. To be honest, I mean, I think it's regurgitated stuff. Go back to your Bible, read it, find out for yourself, research. Don't take things at face value. Don't just believe everything that you hear because there's so much misinformation out there, right? This whole thing with the COVID. I mean, come on, guys. There's enough information there to show you that it's all a hoax. It's all rubbish, right? And they're fear mongering because they want to fulfill another agenda. Anyway, we're not going to go down to COVID. But the point I'm making is, with all this evil going on around and all the judgments that are coming, and yeah, COVID might be one of the judgments that God is sending, but if it is, there is a solution. And if you know your God, if you fear Him and you understand what's happening in the spirit realm, forget about the flesh realm. You can fight all the stuff you want in your flesh and still do nothing. At the end of the day, you'll end up doing nothing because people that have fought in the flesh for years have brought no advancements in any way, right? Rebellious groups all the way since creation was done have done nothing, right? Uh, Otherwise, the world would not be as evil as it is today. But the spirit realm is what moves God. And if God moves, then things change and things happen. And that's where I want to get us to. Unless the spirit realm moves, unless we move God with our prayers, then we go and do everything else that we do, right? But God has to move first. The spirit realm has to move first. Let's put our priorities right. And the whole point of this teaching is that I want you to focus on the keeping of the commandments because this is the fundamental part. Right? You can have all the other stuff. You can have all the laws worked out. You can have all the human rights stuff, and you can have all the information that will debunk the COVID, and you can have all the knowledge about the people in power, how evil they are, and all this sort of stuff, and Bill Gates and all that sort of stuff. How they're wanting to bring the mark of the beast and New World Order with the United Nations. All this stuff is good. I'm not debunking it in any way. It's all good, but unless there is a foundation of spiritual life behind everything you do, unless there is a foundation of obedience to your God and to His laws, first of all, first and foremost, unwavering devotion to your God, then everything else you do, everything else you do will be subject to one or two things: the blessing or the cursing. And I want to deal with that today. All right, let's go. That was just the introduction, by the way. Sorry, 20-minute introduction. Okay. Exodus 20 basically goes through the whole thing. It's all about obedience to God. Obey God, obey His commandments. These are the commandments of God, and so on. Exodus 23, 25. Let's go to Exodus 23. So from Exodus 20 all the way to 23, there's a reiteration of the commandments, and it's dealing with the nitty-gritty of it. Now it's broken down into specific places, and Moses goes through the whole thing again, and we come to Exodus 23, and we're talking about the Sabbath day again, the sabbatical years. So he breaks it up a little bit more into the sabbatical days, sabbatical years, the Shemitah, and he reiterates all the commandments. And then he goes a little bit into the feasts themselves. As he's talking about the commandments, he's sort of pointing out the feast days that he's going to set up they're all listed in Leviticus 23. And then here in, where is it? Alright, verse 22, we'll go from there. So, Exodus 23, verse 22 says, "But if you indeed listen to his voice," he's talking about the angel of the Lord that he would send, which is Messiah, I believe. If you listen to the voice of Messiah, and do all that I speak to you, then I will be an enemy to your enemies. This is God speaking. I will be an enemy to your enemies. Right? You're not going to have to fight your enemies, because God will fight them for you. And an adversary to your adversary. Right? For my angel shall go before you and bring you into the Amori, into the Amorites. So the angel of the Lord will go before you, and he will bring you into the land of the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off, says Jehovah, right? So God will fight for them. He's telling them as they go into the promised land, God will fight the enemies if they listen to his voice. It's an if conditional, right? If they listen to the voice of the angel of Jehovah and do all that he speaks, right? Including the laws and the precepts and all of that stuff. It says that you shall not bow to their gods, nor serve them, nor follow their practices, but you shall utterly overthrow them and demolish their pillars. You shall serve Jehovah your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from your midst. Okay, COVID-19, here's the answer. So if you will listen to the voice of God and do what he says, then God will be an enemy to your enemies. He will be a Hasatan to your Hasatan. So he will be an adversary to the adversary. And if you serve Jehovah your God, he will bless your bread. In other words, you will have provision. He will bless your water. So don't worry about the poisons in the water. He will bless it. make it holy, make it good. I will take sickness away from your midst. Okay? So the whole point of this is that sickness can be done away with by obedience to God. Right? No one will miscarry or be barren in your land. Good news to the ladies and to the new fathers. There will be no more miscarriages. I will fulfill the number of your days. You will live to a ripe old age, 120 years old, according to God's command, right? I will send my terror before you and will confuse all the peoples to whom you come to. I will make all your enemies turn their backs to you. I will send, get this, the hornet, the wasp, before you, which will drive out the Hivites, the Canaanites, and the Hittites from before you. I would not drive them from before you in 1 year, lest the land becomes desolate and the animals of the field multiply against you. Right? The lions and the bears and all that sort of stuff that were there in the land. I will not drive them, sorry, little by little I will drive them out from before you until you have increased and inherit the land. Okay, so, yes, this was for Israel as they were coming in the land. And you say, well, that's for the Jews, for those Jews, for Jews. It was for them when they were going into the land of Israel after their exodus, and yeah, great on them, good on them, that's great. But now Yeshua's come, and my JC, and he no longer requires that I do any of this stuff, right? Now it's all up to me. I can do whatever I want and be free, right? So in other words, what you're saying is I can murder and I can pillage and I can rape women and children and kill whoever I want, right? Because the law doesn't apply to me, right? Oh, no, 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 that's not what I mean. I mean that Yeshua now exalted the law and lifted it up to another level. No, he didn't exalt anything. He actually explained it. This is what it actually means. You have heard it said, this, and that. But I say, this is what it actually means. Right? There's not exaltation of the law. And if the law is exalted, that means there is more for you to do, not less. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. You do with that what you want. But I'll say this. The whole point of sickness being taken from our midst is based on our obedience to his laws. And that rule never changed for anyone. So if you obey his word, if you obey his laws, he will bring healing to the land, to you, to your community, to your family, and so on. People get sick, and even Paul said that as well. People get sick and die because they do the wrong thing, right? They go against God's laws, and then they go, "Oh, why me? Why me? Why did it happen to me?" It happened to you because you didn't obey Him, right? It's pretty clear. Deuteronomy chapter 4. We'll go there in a second. Deuteronomy chapter 4. I'm going to read just a few verses. Now, Israel. See, it's not for you. It's just for the Jews. If you're His people, you are part of Israel. By the way, there's no gate of the Gentiles on the city of Jerusalem when it descends in Revelations. There's 12 gates for the 12 tribes of Israel. So you're gonna have to come in through one of those gates with one of the tribes. So if you're not Israel, if you're just a Gentile believer, you're gonna be left outside the city, because there's no gate for you. There's no gate of the Gentiles. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say about that. Listen to the statutes and to the ordinances. So they're not just all laws, there's statutes, there's ordinances, uh, which I teach you to do them, that you may live. So if you want to have life, this is how you get your life, full life, right? I come to give life and life in abundance. Well, this is how you get that life. If you obey, if you listen to the statutes and ordinances, which I teach you to do them, you may live and go in and possess the land which Jehovah your God of your father gives you. Everybody wants to go into the New Jerusalem. Everybody wants to be part of God's people. Everybody wants to go and be in the heaven of God, right? Well, the heaven actually is coming to the earth. Just letting you know, we're gonna be here for another 1,000 years at least. There's no rapture. Anyway, just hold on a second. Yep. All right. I'm being called to go and eat, so we'll make this short. You shall not add to the word which I command you. Right? You can't change this word. Neither shall you diminish from it, that you may keep your mitzvot of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Jehovah did because of Baal Peor to all the men who followed Baal Peor. Yeah, good job. Come here. Yeah, that is just typing for tomorrow. Hello. That's Eliana saying hello.
Hello.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Alright, I'll be listening.
Okay.
Verse 4.
Okay, sorry.
Verse 4 says, But you who did cleave to Jehovah your God and are alive, every one of you this day. Okay, so here's the thing. At Baal Peor, many died because they cleaved, or they joined themselves to the prostitute women that came out of Moab, and those men died. And those who stayed with God, those who cleaved, joined with Jehovah, as a husband joins to his wife, and as a wife joins to her husband, cleaves, right? They become one. These guys survived, and are there present, right? So these guys survived because they cleaved to Jehovah. Who are you cleaving to? Are you cleaving to the national laws, to the international laws, uh, to the speaker here and the teacher there? Are you cleaving to this congregation or that congregation? Are you cleaving to brother so and so, or you know, flat Earth? Sorry, it keeps coming back. What are you cleaving to? Whatever you cleave to, that will be your God. That's your idol. And if it is not Jehovah, you will not live. Right? Especially as we're coming now to the end of times and things are accelerating. If you will not cleave to Jehovah, you will die. That is a fact. It is prophesied. No wall will stand when he comes, when Yeshua returns. There will be earthquakes. There will be uh, amazing things happening around the earth. Uh, Tsunamis. You know, you name it, it will happen. And the point that I'm trying to get across to you is you need to cleave to Yehovah. Because when you cleave to Him, there is life in Him. It says, whoever falls into the pit and gets out of the pit will fall into the trap. So the judgments that God brings upon the earth when Yeshua returns are terrible. There will be plagues, darkness that can be felt, just like the first time. Uh, the whole thing that comes out of the bottomless pit and smites people left, right, and center. I mean, come on, people, cleave to Jehovah, grab onto Him, because that's the only way you can save yourself and your families. Cleave to Jehovah. Forget all the other idols. Make Him the base of your life, and everything else. Uh, do it, not a problem, but He needs to be the center of your life. If he's not the center of your life, if you're more preoccupied with what Scammer is doing right now, Scott Morrison, Scammer, if that's what you're worried about, if that's what the center of your life is, if COVID-19 is the center of your life, then you have not cleaved to Jehovah. You are afraid because you should be afraid, because you don't have protection in your life. You're not under His jurisdiction. You're not under His covering. So I encourage you, get back to the Torah, obey His commandments, do what He tells you to do, and then you'll be all right. Whatever happens, we are protected. Whatever happens, uh, our life is preserved, and we will reign with Him in the millennial reign. So we'll be with Him, with Messiah. But the other way, if you try to save your life by doing all these things, you will lose it. You will lose it. Okay. The whole thing about the blessings and the curses, we all know about Deuteronomy 28. So for homework, guys, I want you to read Deuteronomy 28. I'm not going to read it for you. You need to do your own study. You need to learn to know who your God is and what He expects of you. And that only comes through serious study. Open your Bible instead of opening Facebook, and instead of going to YouTube. Open your Bible. Read Deuteronomy 28. Read Deuteronomy 4, 5, 6, Exodus 20, 21, 22, 23. Get into your scriptures, guys. There's no way I can impart what I already know because I am in the scriptures all day long. But you guys, if you're not in it, you're just going to be asking questions for the rest of your life. And whatever I tell you, you're just going to believe it because you have no framework. You have no reference of anything. But if you search the scriptures for yourself, and then you're going to say to me, brother, I think you're misleading me. I think that's not how he says, because here, and I'll say, oh, hold on. I never saw it that way. We can have a conversation and we can actually look at the scriptures together and try to make sense of them. But this way, if you're not searching the scriptures, you're just believing anything that I say or that someone else says. And you're going to be, uh, going to and fro with your doctrines. Nothing secure, and everything will be like whatever everybody else says, like a sheep following blindly. We were not called to be like that. We're called to know Him and to know His power. You want to be healthy, you want to be fruitful in your life, and you want to be blessed in everything you do, then obey God. Listen to Him, hear His words, study them, meditate on them, right? And then obey them. Simple. When you obey, uh, God's protection is on you, and you will be blessed in the city. You will be blessed going out. All right, so I'm just gonna leave you now with Psalm 28, 128. Sorry, we'll just go there. Psalm 128, and we're gonna read all of it. A song of ascents, Shir Lamaalot. Blessed is everyone who fears Yehovah, who walks in his ways. Right? To walk in his way means to keep his laws, his covenant. For you will eat of the labor of your hands. You will be happy. Who wants to be happy? And it will be well with you. Right? That's all things good. That's shalom, right? All things are well because everything around me is well. Your wife will be as a fruitful vine in the innermost parts of your house. Your children like olive plants around your table. Behold, thus is the man blessed who fears Yehovah. Who wants to be a blessed man who fears Yehovah? Behold, thus is the man. May Yehovah bless you out of Zion, and may you see the good days of Jerusalem. All the days of your life. May you see your children's children. Shalom be upon you, Israel. It's my blessing to you as well. May you see your children's children. Shalom to you, Israel. Laila Tov, my brothers. Blessings and shalom, health, and long life to all of you in Yeshua's mighty name. Later.